How does Red Dawn 1984 depict the Soviet Union? Have you ever wondered how films reflected the fears of their time? In the case of Red Dawn from 1984, it offers a vivid portrayal of the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The film presents the Soviet Union as an aggressive and expansionist communist power. It begins with Soviet paratroopers landing in a small American town, signaling the start of a brutal occupation. This invasion taps into the anxieties of the era, showcasing the fear of communist domination. Throughout the movie, the Soviet forces are depicted as ruthless occupiers. They impose their ideology through violence and repression instead of gaining local support. The imagery of red flags and the playing of the Internationale reinforces their political control. This portrayal aligns with the widespread perception of the Soviet Union as a threat during the Cold War. The storyline situates the Soviet Union in a context of crisis. The film suggests that the Soviets are facing their worst wheat harvest in decades and dealing with uprisings in Eastern Europe, particularly in Poland. This backdrop serves to justify their invasion of the United States as part of a broader communist offensive. The film implies that the Soviets are not only targeting the U.S., but are also involved in destabilizing parts of Latin America, including Cuba, Nicaragua, and Honduras. The military strategy depicted in Red Dawn is harsh and focused on counterinsurgency. The Soviet commanders are shown referencing their real-world experiences fighting guerrilla forces in Afghanistan. They reject attempts to win over the local population, instead relying on brutal tactics such as mass executions and internment camps. This reflects historical accounts of how communist regimes have used violence to maintain control. In contrast, the American protagonists engage in guerrilla warfare against the Soviet occupiers. Their resistance mirrors the tactics used by communist revolutionaries in places like Cuba. This irony highlights the complexities of warfare and the strategies employed by both sides. From a communist perspective, the film presents a stark caricature of the Soviet Union. It emphasizes violence and oppression while ignoring any ideological appeal. The portrayal serves as a piece of Cold War propaganda designed to stoke fears about communist expansion. The film depicts communism as a hostile ideology, focusing solely on its destructive aspects. In summary, Red Dawn depicts the Soviet Union as a violent occupying force that uses brutal military tactics to impose its ideology. This aligns with the anxieties of the late Cold War era, reflecting the fears of American audiences about the perceived threat of communism. The film emphasizes repression and mass violence, portraying communism as a destructive force rather than a political system with any legitimate appeal.